and my session is going to be on inductive approach in planning lessons, lesson planning. Short note about me is I'm actually a foodie and not just tasting foods. I love to explore the ingredients, deconstruct the dish, and recreate it at home. And maybe that reflects and resonates very well with me in classes as well, because curating the experiences and making the children to come up with their conceptual understanding. This resonates very well with me in classes actually. And the session highlights are like we have key aspects of planning and levels in planning, maybe and the approaches to planning. We have deductive approach and inductive approach. Directive and the how the shift in mindset has to be, and some discussions around the classroom scenarios. And today's session goals will be like at the end of the session, we'll be able to design some skill focused lesson plans using inductive approach that may allow the learners to construct their own conceptual understanding through the learning experiences that we are going to curate. And the learning experience as well, which learning experience may take them to the appropriate conceptual understanding or what we have planned. May I request the participants to mute, please? Yeah, thank you. And we'll be looking into how to curate some effective learning experiences to achieve the learning objective that we have planned for the children or for the class. And just a short video for us to just reflect on our classroom scenario. Let me play the video. Are we all here? Yeah, give me a thumbs up. Or if I'm going too fast, please let me know through the chat. Yeah, thank you. And can you see the video? Is it visible for you all? Yeah. Yeah. Can I have some of your reflection in the chat? If you can connect with this video, because we all plan for our class every day, and something else might happen at real time in our classes. What makes this mismatch to happen in our classes? Maybe your reflection, maybe whatever you thought might be the reason for this mismatch in the lesson plan, what we create and what happens in the classes. What might be the reason? We always face this difference. And we might have always wondered why this happens, and we might have sometimes felt, or maybe we might have actually found what might be the reason behind it. But we are looking for a way to bridge that gap. Everything needs to be planned before executing. Yeah, exactly. It's a roller coaster ride, ups and downs. So we need it sometimes. We need a flexible lesson plans. If we want to strictly adhere to the lesson plans, we might feel the same way how it is in the video. Sometimes if we are not much focused into the skills, or maybe if we are not very much intentionally planning the skills or attributes into our lessons, sometimes this happens. That's what I always feel. Maybe it depends upon the perspective. Lesson plan should be tentative, on time. Maybe sometimes if we, I feel like if we are not planning for the learner's readiness without knowing their prior knowledge, or without knowing about the readiness of the children, because we have diverse children in the classes, that makes our lesson plan goes this way. And we have to intentionally think, I feel, are we planning for the lessons? Thank you everyone for the response. And just if we think intentionally, like, are we planning the lessons or the learning? Maybe in that way, if we question ourselves, we can bridge this gap, I hope. And if learning doesn't always follows our plan, what should planning actually focus on? The planning may actually focus on the age appropriate content or the skills. We have more aspects on planning our lessons. See, the aspects are like it should be skill focused and age appropriate. Age appropriate in the sense learning experiences should match the learner's readiness and their cognitive skills. And the to make them more knowledgeable, it should be very much skill focused, and it will make them very much ready for the future. And learner centric, it should give more choice for the learner. Learners should be given the choice and voice, as we say in IB, and so that the learners take ownership of their learning. If that is given, eventually the lesson plan will go in the way that we have planned or what we expect. And if it is experience driven in the sense, what I mean is we have to give them more real life scenarios, rather than after getting the conceptual understanding and taking them to the leaving them in a new scenario. If we give them with more real life scenarios or some examples, then they can very well connect within themselves, and they will come up with the beautiful conceptual understanding more than what we expect from them. And purposefully aligned in the sense, the skills or learning attributes, or maybe the content what we are planning, it should be aligned with the learning outcome what we are planning. So these are all some key aspects of planning. And moving on to next, like uh, we have levels in planning. We cannot just directly think about the learning outcome and start planning. So the levels in planning is like we have theoretical level, next operational, and next goes with the practical. We cannot directly go into the practical way or just go and implement whatever we plan in the class, just having something in our mind and trying out in the class. So theoretical in the sense, first we need to understand the prior knowledge, or where the students stand, or where the class or maybe the learners there, and the real context what we are planning. If we are very well aware of the context before designing the lesson, then we can end up with the proper conceptual understanding what we are expecting. So theoretical is the level where we focus on understanding the learner rather than understanding the concept that we are going to give them. Understanding the learner is the most or the priority that we have to give first. And operational level is where we try to incorporate the skills or the attributes that we want the learner to gain through this lesson plan, or in that particular lesson, whatever we need, not just with the conceptual understanding, their skills as well as the attributes or the knowledge that is needed for them to attain the conceptual understanding. When we do it very much intentionally, then the practical level will go seamlessly. If we do this theoretical level, if we meticulously plan the theoretical level and operational level, then the practical level will just go seamlessly without any, it will be like without any too much of pressure on our side. So excuse me, practical level is designing the learning experience. So the third level is what? Designing the learning experience. But what I actually feel is sometimes we start with the practical level. We will just plan the learning experience, then we try to fit in the skills or attributes into that. Maybe like we always plan some activity in the class, then we find a way to fit in the skill or the attributes we want the child to gain in that. So when we have the theoretical and operational in the first level, and then moving on to the practical level, then our planning will be very much in the way that we wanted it to be. Then if we focus skill in each level very much carefully, if we incorporate the skills in every level, then the learners, what we expect or the outcome will be the independent learning. We get independent learning, or the learners will take ownership of their learning. This is the exact like outcome of following the levels of planning very much intentionally. If we follow it, then the outcome will be like learners will definitely know what we expect from them. If we give them with the scenarios, and if they are uh, exploring the scenarios and they are finding some patterns and they are connecting themselves in that scenarios, and if they come up with the understanding, then definitely they know what is expected and they know why and how to learn. They themselves know. But what we have to do is we are facilitating them with some prompts. The prompts that we give, that takes them to the next level, and they do it independently, and they become independent learners and self-regulated learners. That is what actually we expect when we plan a lesson or when we plan our the activity. It's not just conceptual understanding. We want them to be self-regulated. Not all children will be in the same level, but still, when we plan it with in such a way that the experiences that we are giving them is diverse, and it reaches all the learners, level of all the learners, then the self-regulated learning and the independent learning will be easily achieved. We have to achieve the independent learning, or maybe the self-regulated learners, we have two approaches in planning the lessons. One is deductive and inductive. I hope this will not be very much new for everyone. Deductive is what we are used to it, and inductive is actually what we are already doing, but we may not aware that we are doing the inductive approach. That's the way that because from my experience, like from when I started learning about inductive approach, it felt very new for me, and I thought, okay, I need to do something new, and I need to what learn much about inductive learning. Is exactly, actually we need to learn, but I thought it is something new and I need to do something new in my classes. But when we just move deeper into the approaches, then I can feel that we are actually doing both, but we are not doing it with the knowledge that we are doing the inductive approach. That's where we stand now. But as far as I know, most of the teachers, we are all doing the deductive approach as well as inductive approach. In deductive approach is like what how we actually start the classes or the plan the lessons is how do I teach this concept? What am I like? The concept will be given to them at the first, and then I'll just come up with the teach them the give them the learning experiences and teach them the knowledge, and after gaining the knowledge, I'll just validate the understanding through some assessments. Yes, that's how the deductive approach is being carried. And inductive approach is how can I design the learning so understanding emerges from exploration, like experiencing. How the children can derive the understanding from the experiences or the examples or maybe some case studies, some learning experience that I am going to decide. Using that, how the learners are going to take the understanding from that. I'm not going to give them today. We are going to learn about photosynthesis. I'm not going to tell them. I hope we are doing it already in the classes. Yes, so that's why I told that we are already doing inductive approach, but not aware that we are following that. And understanding is constructed through exploration and thinking. So this actually what it does, inductive approach improvises thinking in children, among the children. Let me just share one classroom scenario where I had deductive approach in my class. For the I'm in grade 3 actually. Their learning goal for that class is to understand the interconnectedness of people and land. This unit is landforms and tourism, and they have to understand the interconnectedness of people and land. We just gave them the knowledge like people and land are interconnected in many ways, and they have come up with a few that they have known, like culture or native people, language, food, clothing. We started the class like to understand the interconnectedness of people and land. This is how the class started during the inductive approach. Then, after introducing the concept of interconnectedness between people and land, what we ask them is the learning experience. What we have given is they have to select a country or the tourist destination on their own of their choice. Here also we are giving them the ownership for children. But the first step where I am giving the understanding to the learners is what I have done. I've given them the understanding or the learning goal, or maybe that is given to them first, and then going forward, we told them, okay, these are all the parameters through which the land and the people are connected. Going forward, they chose a country of their choice, and they found how the people and land are connected in each way, and even they come up with the impacts of tourism as a next level. Here also, it gave a scope for children to go deeper. Then they organized their finding in a chart and they presented it. There they used their presentation skill, research skill, and observation. I mean, they gathered information. Everything has been done, but I have given the learning experience. I told them the people and land are connected. In that way, it happened, and the learning is complete. There is like no gap in their conceptual understanding or how they have achieved. This is how the deductive approach goes like. Moving forward, we'll just discuss about the inductive approach as well. I hope we are doing it in classes. Many of the classes we follow this way. And going forward with inductive approach, here in inductive approach, we decide the learning outcome or learning objective at the first. We are not going to talk about the conceptual understanding what they are going to gain at the end of this lesson or end of the learning experience or the activity. I'm not going to open that to the children now. So I will decide or curate the learning outcome or learning objective for myself, and then I'm going to present some few real life examples or the case studies or some scenarios to the children, some exemplars at time. This will be presented to them, and they will be connecting each scenario, and they will try to find pattern how this goes hand in hand. What is the difference between the examples? How the examples that we have given are all connected. Then they will find patterns in the examples. They make connection with themselves, and they make connection among the examples, and then they will come up with some understanding through. This will not just happen when we just give them with the examples. We have to give them some prompts that will just provoke them to make some meaningful connection, because that guides them to the conceptual understanding. If we are just giving the examples and leaving as it is, and they will make connection, they will actually come up with some beautiful connections or some patterns as well. As and along with that, if we give them some prompts that can guide them to the learning outcome what we have curated, then the patterns that they find or the connections that they make will be more meaningful, and it will be very much directed to the conceptual understanding. So we have to help the learners to connect and identify patterns. Then through the experience, learning experience, or the activity we plan, they apply this connection or the pattern what they have found in the learning experience that we have given. Then they will come up with the conceptual understanding towards the end of the activity. They will derive the conceptual understanding on their own. This will definitely happen, and it will just happen seamlessly without even putting too much effort into that. Our effort comes in designing the effective learning outcome and providing the effective or curating the real life scenarios, collecting the real life scenarios or the examples or case studies. That's where our effort is too much in this approach. The next step that follows, it's like a piece of cake for us. If we give them with that and the prompts, if we design it in such a way, then the conceptual understanding derived will be easily happening in the class. So here the teacher work is to design some good learning experiences, and we give them some question prompts and the reflection prompts to them, and we are guiding the learners towards the conceptual understanding, or to frame the conceptual understanding. As a student, what they will be doing is they will just explore the case studies or the scenarios that we are going to provide them. They will explore and they will observe, and then it just provokes them to think critically, and they will make connection. And as I said, they will come up with the understanding independently at the end. Am I moving for fast, or is that okay for you all? Yeah, thank you. Yes. And why we need to do inductive approach when we are very much comfortable with the deductive approach, and the conceptual understanding is actually happening in deductive approach as well. There is no okay, it's not working well. There is not such thing in the classes. Yeah, it will actually happen, and it gives good conceptual understanding to the children. But still, why we are doing the why we want to shift to inductive approach is that it promotes deeper thinking when it comes to skill based curriculum, or like when we focus more onto the skills, we have to incorporate such things into children. We have to give them the opportunity for thinking. We have to give them the scope for such things. Then only we can have the skill based learning in the class. So it promotes deeper thinking, because they have to observe the pattern, they have to gather information from the examples that we are giving. In such a way, it promotes deeper thinking, and they take ownership of their learning and the transfer of understanding, where they are applying the understanding what they have gained. That will also happen naturally without even the teacher's guidance. Sometimes teacher guidance is needed, but most of the times we feel that it is teacher driven. We have to go tell them, okay, you make a poster, or you have to create awareness to them. And but when we have the inductive approach, we just guide them with the scenarios. After seeing the scenarios itself, like, they will just think of the way what they can do. So the transferring knowledge will also happen with the, it will be very much learner driven. We can just give them the guidance and it will happen automatically, rather than teacher driven. It will happen like teacher guided and student driven. So transfer of knowledge will also happening. You can see that happen beautifully in the classes without even we are planning something for taking action or to apply their knowledge. That will happen. And how the skill is being focused in giving such kind of learning experiences or case studies in inductive approach, like they tend to observe, they ask question when they want to connect those examples or exemplars, they will ask question. They actually interact with each other in the group. It's not just one student getting 10 examples and they have to think on their own way. It will be like a collaborative one. They have the chance of collaborating and reflecting on the understanding. They have some like perception. They will try to share their perception. The difference in opinion will be shared, and they take ownership of learning, listening to different viewpoints. That's where the perspective stands. And applying the understanding in new situation is where the apply, I mean, the transfer of knowledge is happening. So like the skill focus is not like we don't need to like as we do it in deductive approach, we plan a learning experience and we try to bring in the skills into that. But here I'm just giving the scenarios and the skill is being built on its own without even doing it intentionally. The skills are being incorporated into this inductive approach naturally. So the all the skills, most often every skill will be uh, just the student will use all the skills during this kind of approach. When we plan inductive approach for the lessons, we don't need to plan for, okay, I need to plan a communication to develop the communication skill. No, okay, this time I'm going to plan a lesson for research skill, but this happens naturally. Most of the skills will be built naturally in this approach. Okay, when I want to be like a practice inductive approach in my class, it's not like I need to just completely transfer my teaching methodology into inductive approach. As a teacher, we know when to apply deductive approach and what concept will, I mean, the inductive approach will work well for which concept and deductive approach will work for which concept. Yeah, ma'am. Can you please mute? And coming back to shift in mindset, like the teacher, when we plan, we have to like, we always think like, what will I teach today? And what will, I mean, as a designer, being a teacher to the designer is where the mind shift happens in the inductive approach. So here I will think, what will I design today to help the learners reach the conceptual understanding? I'm going to design something in the way, it's not learning experience. I'm going to design the case studies that I'm going to provide them. I'm going to collect more scenarios for them to give, to explore or to observe. Then I'm going to design. So being a designer rather than a teacher. So, being a teacher, we are delivering the content, we are delivering the knowledge that we want them to learn, and they will be the passive listeners and they will listen. There also they will gain knowledge, but here they take the ownership and they will involve. Student involvement will be more in inductive approach. So, I mean, um, to honestly say, like inductive approaches, I'm providing the knowledge to them through the examples or the real life scenarios, um, along with the skills through thinking or discussing, analyzing, observing. So when we add this knowledge and skill, so conceptual understanding will be attained at the end. That's what K plus we are much into ISP terms now. So when we have knowledge and skill put together, the conceptual understanding will emerge. That's where the inductive approach is. And let me share how the inductive approach will look in social stream or in science or maybe all the different subject streams. So some my class examples here in grade 3 what we have done previously, what I shared is for deductive approach, and here um, it is for inductive approach. In science we had the water unit for them, water unit in the sense that they didn't learn about water as a resource. As a grade 3 student they were learning water conflicts as their concept for the unit. So here what they just as initially they explored into water as a resource and how sources of water and how well the water is distributed around the world. And the after exploring all these things, we are going moving forward to take them to the need of water conservation in present day, the urge for water conservation in the present day. So the way we planned is we have given them some around 10 to 15 scenarios, like a pictures are given to them, like let me show. Yeah, the pictures that very well shows the water scarcity, water problem, water pollution and all. We didn't tell them water as a resource, we have so much issues in the world going on or in the present day world, but we just displayed all these examples to them. A picture with a drought, I mean the children carrying water in other countries, and some within the country where they are just living with the I mean the polluted water with polluted water, and how they are suffering without water. These pictures are given to them, and what they have to do is the prompts are given, like they have to connect themselves with the picture and they will come up with their reflection on that. Like after knowing that water resources, and they were provoked to make connection with their prior knowledge about water. They know how the water is distributed throughout the world. They know like only this much fresh water is available and this much water is contaminated, and so much water is like in ocean and it is unusable water or cannot be used for drinking purpose. After knowing that, now they are going to connect themselves with the picture, like they made how it makes them feel, how it connects them. They made the and they come up with some good water problems after connecting themselves, like how well I can connect with this picture, or how it I mean we asked like how it made you feel, how I felt after seeing this picture, and now what I think about this picture, what is my thinking. Then they come up with the list of water problems. They sorted out the challenges associated with water around the world. They told water pollution, water scarcity, even water management, drought, and climate change. Everything came out from the children. They told, because what we wanted is we wanted our children to come up with the water challenges in the society. And after connecting themselves, some told like, "Ma'am, we feel like crying. Ma'am, we feel like go." Like going and switching off the tap, here it is wasting. So like that so much of buildings are there, they are staying in queue. So ma'am, I thought like having uh, taking some steps towards that. They were like so much moved with those pictures, and they made connection, and they come up with the good water problems what we have expected from them. After that, the learning experience that is given to them is, now they have chose a country of their own choice, and they selected a country that faces the water problem, and then they researched about how the water problem was, when the water problem started there, what is the actual problem in that country, and then what steps the government has taken, and now how far the country is improved in that way. So this is how they have done. And the connection that they made is like what they just wrote, what did they notice, and
Madhumathi, I'll just
how
stop you for a
did
minute.
it make them
Madhu,
feel, and how well they connected with them. And these are all few examples, like they come up for the conceptual understanding that they gained. And going forward, the transferring
Madhu, one
knowledge
second.
happened.
Madhumathi, Madhu, one
Yes,
second.
ma'am.
Sorry. Sorry. Teachers, I have, Madhu, you only have 5 more minutes to close it.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes.
teachers, I have dropped the QR code as well as the form link for attendance. This will be on only for an hour. Please fill that. And Madhu, you only have 5 minutes to close it.
Okay. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes. So after this, after attaining this conceptual understanding, the transferring knowledge or taking action happened. Like they came up with the own comic strip to conserve water, and few have come up with the infographics how to conserve the water. This is how the next level of transferring knowledge happened when we give them with examples or scenarios in the class. And moving to social in simple missions unit, here also we have given them scenarios, like how a person, or maybe how it is difficult for the people to complete a task. We didn't give just one task, we have given some tasks for them, and the prompts are given here. I hope it is visible for you, like how well they can connect it with the situation, and how exactly the problem, what is the exact problem, and how can they improve that situation, or how can they help them to come out of that, or to make the task easier for them. So they made connection and they came up with the good solution, and some solutions are actually it is existing, and somewhere new from their perspective. They even sorted it out whether it is the existing solution or the new solution that they made. After this, the taking action or the transferring knowledge in real life, they just got derived some, or they searched for some scenarios where the people are suffering, or where the people are feeling difficult to complete their task. They found out a scenario and they made their own prototype to solve the problem using the knowledge that they gained from simple missions. So they made, like they followed the design thinking cycle, like they just idea defined this problem, then empathize, then define, and then they ideated the prototype as well. Going forward in English, this is one something beautiful, some good example that I can show you. It's the what we wanted the children to learn about informational writing. Here, the example given to them is multiple examples of informational writing, like one is newspaper content, the other one is the mobile phone manual that we have given, and one more is the tourism brochure, travel brochure. So the prompts that we have given them is like, for what they use, what is the purpose of the author to create this, and how well the information is organized in that text. So they connected and they just explored deep into that. They learned or they read the entire thing, and they connected each informational script that we have given. And then they come up with, okay, so this is the informational writing, or this is how the informational writing will look like in different scenario. How the informational writing will be in newspaper, we didn't just give them, or the informational writing task is not done at the first, and then they didn't come up with the one informational writing. This is already given to them, and from that they have understood how the informational writing should be and what and all and the elements of what are all the elements of informational writing, like headings or the bold, how to bold the sentences, what the text should carry on, what will be the main idea of the text. They derived everything from the examples that is given to them. And then the experience, learning experience comes, the informational writing template is given to them. And then for the real life, after learning about water unit, they came up with the informational writing on their own about water. In the same way, in math as well, for measurements, we are not going to tell them that they are going to measure something or what is measurement. Just without telling anything, teachers provided them with some examples. They just presented something to view. And then after comparing those, then they constructed meaning, like why it is like this, why when I lift a Fevicol bottle, why it is heavier, or is it heavier, why the empty bottle is like this. Maybe the pencil and a stick is given to them. And it's not like a one example for measurement as a
Madhu,
length.
2 minutes. It's
Yes, ma'am.
already time. Just 2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, that's all it's going. So after giving them this, these many examples to them, they constructed meaning, or they come up with the conceptual understanding of measurement about weight, length, and the weight, length, and also the other parameters of measurements. And then they connected well, and they made their own measurements in the classes. Transferring knowledge, when it comes to transferring knowledge, how it happened is during the unit 10 celebration, they measured the visitors, like they calculated BMI on the own, and they measured the weight, they measured the height, and the simple calculation of BMI is also done by the children. This is how we can have inductive approach in various streams. And when we say like, okay, inductive approach is so good, it's not like I'm going to shift my mind, I'm going to start doing inductive approach from next day. It's like we have to know when to use this approach and how to use it, and for what lesson we need to plan the inductive approach. We don't need to choose one approach over the other. No, I'm not going to deductive approach, not like that. So we'll be just choosing the exact lesson where the inductive approach will suit very well for us, because as a teacher we need to plan it. So I hope this is how the inductive approach goes on, and it's up to us, we teachers, how to plan our lessons going forward. And if you wish, you can try your own way of making the inductive approach. Choose a stream, learning objective, and then plan with your examples. What are all the examples you are going to give, and learning experiences with the conceptual understanding what they are going to derive it.